Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Michael. I'm with the ALG Vacations Education team. I want to welcome everyone to our Discover the Spirit of Aloha webinar. And it is my great pleasure to welcome our panelist, Shelley Williams. She's a business development manager with ALG Vacations. Welcome, Shelley. Before we get started, I just wanted to remind everybody I am recording this webinar, and we'll make sure Shelley can have a link to this so that she can share this with anybody who is interrupted and can't finish today's program. Hopefully you can stick around with us for the full presentation, but welcome everyone. And also, I wanted to let you know if you've got any questions for myself, for Shelley, just go ahead and drop those in the Q&A panel. That will be on your webinar dashboard. So, Shelley, without further ado, I'll send it your way and you can begin whenever you're ready.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining us this morning or this afternoon, wherever you're located. As Michael mentioned, my name is Shelley Williams, and I am the Business Development Manager for ALG Vacations, and I am based here in Kansas City. So when Lori and Nancy asked me to share my knowledge about Hawaii with you guys, I was thrilled to do that. So I kind of wanted to share some details about why you need to make Hawaii your next vacation destination. So, as Michael mentioned, if you have any questions, we're going to put those in the chat and then we'll address those as we go. So, we'll start with a few things as we get started here. I apologize. I'm having some difficulties with my mouse. There we go. All right. All right. So, ALG Vacations, most people know us as Apple Vacations, Fun Jet Vacations, Travel Impressions, Blue Sky Tours Hawaii, and then also United Vacations. We are owned by Hyatt Corporations, and we work directly with travel advisors such as Global Connections to create the absolute best vacation options for you out there, because basically all this is about making memories. I believe that's at least my theory on it. So let's take a look at the Hawaiian Islands. Now, we're not going to talk about all of the Hawaiian Islands today, but we're going to talk about the primary, most popular ones. So we're going to talk about Oahu, Maui, Hawaii, and we'll also talk about Kauai, what you want to see when you go there, where you want to stay, and all the wonderful activities that go in with that. So we're going to start with Oahu today. So Oahu, this is where the city of Honolulu is located. So this is normally a first stop for most people when they're flying into the Hawaiian Islands. Some of the top attractions that you're going to see while you're visiting Oahu is Waikiki Beach. You're also going to have the historic landmark of Pearl Harbor here, which I believe that is a must-see. You can also visit the Battleship Missouri Memorial, the Diamond Head Crater, and then also Foster Botanical Gardens is here. The Ione Palace is here as well, and then also the Hunama Bay Nature Preserve. So when we talk about Hawaii, some of the things, I think the most general sense of Hawaii, most people go for the heart of Hawaii, right? Like we're talking about here. So it's a lot about the traditions of the island, the culture, and you want to be able to immerse yourself in that when you arrive. So lots of beautiful things to see when you're in Oahu. So one thing that I always like to point out, I love to talk about the North Shore. So most people will fly into Honolulu, which is on the bottom part of the map. So when we're talking about North Shore, that's going to be on the northern part. And this is really in that area that you see the professional surfers. This is an area that, if you want to get outside of town and enjoy the countryside, this is a great place to do it. Now, most people will fly into Oahu and they will do 3-4 nights here, and then they will go on to the other islands. You can certainly do a 7-night stay in Oahu and stay busy, but if you're investing in that airfare and the amount of time that it's taking you to fly to Hawaii, you're probably going to want to invest in more than one island when you're there. So hopefully today we're going to be able to help with that. So when you're visiting Oahu, there are really 4 main areas. So you have Waikiki Beach area, you have the Ko'olani, the Turtle Bay, which is out in that North Shore area, and then the Kalaya area. And some of our resort recommendations that we have here, the Moana Surf Rider, and this is a Westin property. It's located in the heart of Waikiki. This is a very historic hotel for Waikiki. This one is called the Pink Palace, for those of you that remember. It's a beautiful location. It sits right in the heart of Waikiki. When you stay at this resort, you're within walking distance to most things that you're going to want to see. Also, the Hyatt Regency Waikiki Beach is in that same area. We also have the Outrigger Reef Waikiki Beach. And then we also have a Disney property out there called the Alani. And the Alani area, that's in that Ko'olani area. So it is a little farther outside the city, but still in a great location. The great thing about Oahu is that it's very easy to navigate the island. Most people who come into Oahu will not rent a rental car. Most of them will stay in the Waikiki Beach area. If you're staying out in the North Shore in that Turtle Bay area, I would recommend a rental car for that area, but it's not necessarily something you would have to have when you come into Oahu. Most most attractions you can reach by public transportation. You can Uber. You can do a hop on, hop off tour. There's multiple ways to navigate the island. Parking can be quite expensive in Oahu, so that is one of the reasons, another reason why I think a lot of people prefer not to rent a car. So some of the attractions that you're going to want to see here. So of course we have the Arizona Memorial and Pearl Harbor. This includes a Honolulu City tour. So it's really great. They pick you up early in the morning. We're going to talk about early mornings in Hawaii, because it's something you're going to get accustomed to while you're there. But this is a great tour. They're going to pick you up in the morning. They're going to take you over to the USS Arizona Memorial. And then as you're there, you're going to go over and see the Punch Bowl Cemetery area. And then this will include areas of downtown Honolulu, then it also includes the palace. So this is more of a historical tour. And I think this is a great tour for most people who come in and they want to experience really the top things to see there. Maybe you don't have a lot of time and you want to invest it in seeing as much as you can when you arrive. I certainly would recommend this as a tour. The other option you can do there, we have a Diamond Head Sail and Snorkel option available for you. I am a person that I enjoy being on the water. So anytime that sail is involved, I'm probably going to get involved with, or I'm going to volunteer to go on that excursion. I'm not a great snorkeler, but this is a beautiful area to snorkel. If you are a snorkeler, you're going to want to take advantage of that. But an easy destination, there's so much you can do here. Mostly it's swimming and snorkeling, but you can certainly relax. You'll see the sea turtles, the tropical fish. You'll also see the dolphins. And there are humpback whales that really frequent that area. So if you are there during whale season, I would almost guarantee that you're going to see whales. It's very difficult not to see a whale in Hawaii during whale season. And then the other tour that we offer here is called the Majestic Circle Island. And this is one of those tours. It includes 6 stops and it's designed to give you guys time to explore. So you go to the Nuai Pali Lookout. You also go to the Baidu Inn Temple and the famous tropical farms. This is in the Waimea Valley. So this is in a very, very beautiful area. And this is also where the Dole Plantation is. So you definitely want to go while you're there and visit the Dole Plantation, because I don't know about you guys, but I can tell you that pineapples taste different in Hawaii than they do here. All right, so we have a question from Jennifer real quick. She's asking about when whale season is. So for in Hawaii, that's going to be your winter months. So that's going to start towards the end of November, and then that's going to run through basically into the first part of the following year. I was there in January 2 years ago, and I lost count of the amount of whales that I saw. So very, very common to see there. I was there also in April, and it was unusual because they were still there. That is kind of unusual for that time of year. All right, so now we're going to jump on a plane and we're going to go over to Maui. So I think when you talk to most people about Hawaii, one, I got ahead of myself there. They're going to know about Maui. Maui comes very, very highly recommended. And it's a very, very popular destination. You're going to want to include it. I believe it's a must stop when you're in Hawaii, especially when you're visiting the islands. But lots of attractions here. I love this map because this kind of gives you a general idea of the destination and how easy it truly is to navigate. So some of the top attractions that you can do here is the Road to Hana. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a bit. Kanapali Beach. This is an area where a lot of hotels are located, but this is a great place for shopping, entertainment. The Halekulani National Park and the Halekulani Crater is also located here. We have the Maui Ocean Center, Nepali Beach, Pipiwa Trail, and the Maui Tropical Plantation. So when we talk about Maui, a lot of what we're talking about here are outdoor activities. Most of this are going to be, parks that you're going to visit, things you're going to get to see. Well, I did mention the Road to Hana. I've got a slide about that we'll talk a little bit more about that. The average stay in Maui is about 5 nights. Most people will go in, they'll spend 5 nights here. If you want a little more laid back time, I would try to do about 6 nights here. But easy access, we can get you from one island to the other with our inter-island flights, easily accessible. And everyone, your connection, a global connection, can assist with that as well. Flights operate pretty much all day long from island to island. You can go very early in the morning up until late in the evening. All right, so now we're going to talk about where you can stay. So Maui is one of those destinations that you have multiple options when it comes to how you stay in Maui. So we're going to talk, well, I keep getting ahead of myself. I apologize. We're going to talk mostly about hotels, but we do offer condo options here. So if you have families that are traveling and they're wanting to have that option for breakfast, that type of thing, this is easily accessible. We can definitely take care of that. But some of our top hotel properties would be the Andaz Maui. We also have the Fairmont Kealani, the Nepali Kai Beach Resort, the Hyatt Regency Maui, the Westin Maui, and the Honokai Resort and Spa. And I apologize, I've got this on a strange setting, so I will get that fixed. All of these are going to range from luxury. So your Andaz property, the Andaz and the Fairmont are both going to be high-end luxury. And then we have the Hyatt. So the Hyatt, I recently stayed at the Hyatt last year. It's one of my favorite Hyatt properties. I basically sat on the patio or the balcony of my room and I watched whales for the entire morning. It was lovely. So some of the top attractions here, one attraction that I highly recommend is the Volcano Downhill Bike Tour. If you're wanting to do those excursions or those bucket list opportunities, this is definitely one of them. So you're going to get up very, very early in the morning to take this excursion, but I'll be honest with you, you're going to wake up early in Maui anyway, because you're going to be more acclimated to the time at home. So take advantage of this tour. You get up very early in the morning. They take you by van. You go up to the top of the crater, and up there, as the sun comes up, you're going to have breakfast and you're going to get to see the sun come up over the clouds. It is just amazing. And then you're going to get on your little bike and you're going to ride that bike all the way down the hill to the bottom. Now, I think most people watching this and looking at me are saying, "Oh, really, Shelley, you rode that bike down the hill?" Well, I'm going to say, yes, I did. Now, the bikes are a little different because they are made for folks like me who aren't on bicycles that often. They have very nice wide seats. And also the van goes with you. So if you're like tootling down that hill and you think, you know what, I've kind of had my fill of this, you can jump in the van. The van will stop at every spot that the bike tour stops at. And this is a great opportunity for those folks that are looking for wonderful photos. I guarantee that if you do this tour and you post these pictures and you share your experience here, your friends are going to be quite impressed with it. Every time I go, this is a tour that I will do every time I go. It is that good. The Road to Hana. So who out there also gets car sick? Yeah, that's me. So the Road to Hana, this is a very adventurous destination when it comes to driving, because the Road to Hana, when they say that it is cliffside roads that have hairpin turns, they are not lying. It truly, truly is. Now, you can do this a couple of different ways. If you have a rental car, which I do highly recommend that you have a rental car for Maui, you can certainly drive this on your own. Now, take some boning if you're like me. I drove it, so I really didn't experience car sickness, but I did have other people in my car who do get car sick, and it was a little bit of a rough ride. We should have prepared better for it with the boning. Let's say that. But very picturesque. This is and the great thing about doing it on your own is that you can do it at your own speed. And that's one thing that I enjoy doing things, because I tend to maybe spend a little more time in historic areas where other people wouldn't. But great option. And again, you can do this one on your own. If you prefer not to drive it, you can do an excursion out here. Again, I do highly recommend that you take advantage of those motion sickness medications, because it is a stunning destination, but it is a committed whole day tour. If I were doing this, I would expect this to take up the better part of my day. The other option that I like to talk about here are the morning waterfall walk and swim. I don't know about you guys, but anytime I can get into a destination where there are waterfalls, I'm going to go. And this is one of those that there are thousands of them within the Hawaiian Islands, and the locals know where to take you, where to find these. But you can find some of these on your own, especially when you're doing the road to Hana. You're going to see quite a few of them on that direction as well. But within this trail, you can go off and you can hike on the trail. Most of these include short walks, so it's not an advanced hiking trail that you would need. Now, if you are an advanced hiker, your friends at Global Connection would be able to connect you with proper routes that may be more suitable to your level of hiking. Okay. But within this, what I like about this is that you also give yourself enough time that if you want to get out and you want to swim in them and you want to spend more time there, you certainly can. But a definite recommendation when it comes to Hawaii. Now we're going to head back to the airport and we're going to fly over to my favorite island, which is the Big Island of Hawaii. All right, so most people confuse the Big Island, right? When they say Hawaii, they typically are meaning the entire islands, but the Big Island of Hawaii is called the Big Island. Here we have two airports. You can fly either into Hilo or you can fly into Kona. Now, when you are booking this is a conversation that you need to have with your travel advisor. When they look at your itinerary, they're going to be able to give you a better idea of which destination you could go into, easier for what you're wanting to do or where you're staying. So some of the top attractions here, well, Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, that number one, period, that should be all we need to know, right? We also have the Mauna Kea Summit. So if you're a hiker, this is a great area for that. We have the Aka Falls State Park, so lots of areas for that. I love the Hawaii Tropical Biosphere and Garden. This is just a beautiful area. So if you're like me and you just like to be around pretty flowers and flora and fauna, this is a perfect destination for that. This is also where you're going to find the black sand beaches. And I highly recommend this. It is an experience. I've been fortunate enough in my life to see many, many beaches in my career. And there's something to be said about those black sand beaches. And then Hapuna State Park is here as well. The Hawaiian Vanilla Company is here. It's absolutely a great destination. A rental car is a must here. Okay, because what you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to get off the beaten path, and you can circle this entire island in a day. I have done it multiple times and I have stopped along the way. There's a lot to see here. And a lot of this you can do on your own. You wouldn't necessarily have to do a tour. Most of this you would be able to book or be able to navigate it pretty easily. So some of our top properties here, we have the Fairmont Orchid, which I will tell you guys, the Fairmont Orchid, the best meal I have had on vacation was at the Fairmont Orchid. The Hilton Waikola Village, the Waikola Beach Marriott. We also have the Royal Sea Cliffs, which is a really interesting, that is on that black coral there. The Royal Kona Resort, which is also another property that has a black coral, and then the Aston Kona by the Seas. So these are properties that we recommend. You can look at condos. We do offer some condo options here. Most people will spend about 3 nights, 3 to 4 nights on the Big Island. I'll be honest with you, I could stay on the Big Island longer. Um, but I'm also a people watcher. I enjoy just being in the destination. So some of the top attractions here, we have the Kuala Waterfalls Adventure. This is on the north coast of the Big Island. It's really known for its scenery. It has waterfalls, seaside cliffs, it has the valleys. You can explore all of this on foot, but you can also do an all-wheel drive safari truck for this one. Um, You'll have time to discover the historic Hawaii town, which I highly recommend. Now, again, if you want to drive this and do this on your own, you certainly can. The Undersea Adventure Hawaii Island. Listen, I have a little bit of an issue with small spaces. So unfortunately, this is not an excursion that I can tell you about on my personal experience. But if this is something that you enjoy, if you enjoy sea life and you want to get there down there and you want to see the fish and the coral, you can't, I mean, you can do this and be dry. You don't even have to get wet. So it's a great option. I will say for those folks out there that have issues with small spaces, heed the warning. Yeah, I attempted it. Let's say that. And then morning snorkel tour. You see that our focus on this has really been those morning excursions. So this is a it says 4.5 hours. I will say that when I did this excursion, it took 5 hours, but it was great. It was the better part of the day. It departs from the bay. It includes 2.5 hours of snorkeling at sorry, I did not pronounce that correctly. It includes the snorkel gear instruction, and then they had two 15-foot water slides. This is a good excursion if you're taking the kids and the grandkids. If they're tweens and older, they will love this. It gets them out on the water and they get to adventure and all of that. Now we're going to jump on the airplane and we're going to fly over to Kauai. I think Kauai is an island that most people are familiar with. Not a lot of people have visited Kauai, and we're going to talk about the difference of Kauai compared to some of the other islands that we spoke about earlier. Kauai is a much smaller island, okay? Kauai, the average stay on Kauai is going to range 2 to 3 nights. Now, you can certainly stay longer, but if you're looking for any kind of nightlife, if you're looking for activities in the evenings, you're not going to find much of that here. I do recommend a hotel stay in Kauai because of that. Things close early in Kauai. So you want to plan your day accordingly. You would need to rent a car for Kauai. I think it's very easy to navigate, especially with the advanced tools that we have for that. So some of the top attractions that you're going to see on Kauai: Waimea Canyon State Park. The Kauai Chocolate Farm is also here. Princeville Botanical Gardens. You also have more waterfalls, more walking trails. This really is a destination for those folks that like to get outside and they like to be in nature. Okay, so if you have those hikers, those adventure people, this is perfect for it. It's a very, like I mentioned, it's a very easy island to navigate. And probably my favorite area of this island is the Na'apali coast. It's where you have those beautiful cliffs. It's just stunning. And then if you go down to the southern part of the island, that's where you're gonna have the spouting horn. This is where the water comes up. If you Google it, you'll see the images. But it is something to see with your own eyes. I will say that. So we talked about some of the top visitors areas here would be Princeville, Poipu, Waimea, and the Nepali coast. Hotel recommendations here, we have the Grand Hyatt Kauai, the Waipui Beach Resort, the Hanalaya Bay, and then we also have the Sheraton Kauai. All of those are great options, and easy, your Global Connections advisor can help you with that. And what are some of the top activities to do here? Well, I'll be honest with you, most of these you can do on your own. If you have a rental car and you get out and you adventure, you can certainly do that. But one of these you cannot do on your own. So you'll definitely want to visit the Waimea Canyon and Wailea River. This is an inspired geological wonder. You cruise down the Wailea River on a scenic boat, and you go into really the rainforest here. It's very, very pretty. They'll also take you to the Spouting Horn blowhole, so you will see that on this tour. You'll also go to the waterfalls. Again, you can do this by tour or you can do this on your own. The Nepali and Nui Super Tour. This is a full day, and we're one of the only companies that offer this amazing trip in one. It begins with a continental breakfast as you head west to north of the Nepali coast. And this is where you're going to see the waterfalls, the lush valley, and the sea caves. Then you head across the channel to the forbidden island of Nifi, and this is where you're going to snorkel. You get lunch included in this one. Again, this is one that you may possibly be able to do on your own, but we certainly want to take advantage of any tours. And then lastly, we'll talk about helicopter tours. You can do a helicopter tour on every single island. It is offered. Unfortunately, you can't do that one on your own, so you will need some assistance with that. But it tends to be a bucket list option for most people. And it is something that you can do, and your advisor can help assist you with that to get that booked. So that's our quick and fast introduction of the Hawaiian Islands. We'll leave the chat open. I know Michael is going to let us know if there's any questions in the chat that we can assist with. So if you want to put any of those in there or any comments that you may have. The helicopter tour. Which island do you suggest to do this? Okay, so I am a flora and fauna type of person. I want to see the waterfalls. I don't think there's a bad option here, but I will say if I had a choice in it, I would probably pick Kauai if I were only going to do one. And that's just because you have the cliffs and all that beautiful area. They shoot a lot of movies in Kauai, so they use it. I'm trying to think. I think parts of Predator maybe was filmed there, but very popular. This is a great question. All right, Jerry. So would you recommend doing a cruise of Hawaii versus staying on one of the islands? That's a great question. So you can cruise the Hawaiian Islands. There are multiple ways that you can do that. There is actually a 7-night cruise that operates in just the Hawaiian Islands, but you can also take a cruise that departs from the west coast of the US if you want an extended stay on the ship. That's going to be most definitely a longer cruise. You know, the thing about the Hawaii cruises, those are going to cruise in the evenings. It is probably a more affordable way to see multiple islands, but you're going to be limited on the time that you have in each island. So I think for the most part, people choose a cruise because the meals are going to be included. Well, most of the hotels that we spoke of today will include an option where you can include breakfast. And I think a lot of people who do the cruises will eat breakfast on the ship, but then they go out for the day. So they're probably not eating lunch and dinner on those same dates. So price point, your cruise maybe come in a little less in the beginning, but I think it all is a wash at the end. If you're a cruiser, I think it's a great option to see Hawaii that way. If you're not a cruiser, then we can certainly take care of that. Can you give me an idea of how much I should budget for a trip like this? Well, great question, Estella. And it really just depends on how you vacation. If you are someone who is a little more on the budget end and you tend to conserve your funds and you want to spend those on the experience and not necessarily the hotel or the rental car or the excursion, you can definitely go that route. If you're a luxury traveler and you want, the top room category, we're talking a complete different price point. But if we're talking for budget purposes, I would highly recommend that you talk to the advisors on this. They're pricing the destination every day, and they would probably more be equipped for that question than I would. I'm a former advisor, and I will say that if I were to say a budget on this, on my own price point, saying what I expect and what hotels I enjoy staying in, I would say anywhere from, 2,500 to 3,500 per person with air. And I would say that's around 7 to 10 nights. Now I may be coming in very, very low on that. That would not include excursions, and that likely is not going to include any kind of rental car. But there are very affordable airfares, and your advisors can help you with that. All right. Any other questions? Great questions, guys.
Hey, Shelley, we get a lot of questions from travelers inquiring about all-inclusive stays in Hawaii. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I sure can. Thanks. Thanks. That's a good one that does come up. So currently there are not all-inclusive options in the Hawaiian Islands. The closest thing you're going to get to what I would consider as a traditional true all-inclusive would be cruising. And again, if you're a cruiser, you know that's not the same as an all-inclusive. Um, my recommendation for Hawaii, when I travel there, I always book the room that includes breakfast. Now, at home, I'm not a breakfast eater. I'm typically good with a cup of coffee. I'm a little bit like the Greeks. I like to get up, I like to have a cup of coffee about 10 a.m. I may have a handful of nuts or I may have a sweet treat, but I usually save it. I have a lunch and then I'll have a dinner. Your time is going to be messed up here. Most people don't acclimate easily to the time adjustments when you arrive in Hawaii. So when we talk about early mornings, we really are talking about early mornings because your body is still on home time. So when I was in Hawaii, it was very common for me to wake up. I would watch the sunrise. I would literally go out on my patio. I'd make a cup of coffee in the room and I would go out and I'd watch the sunrise. I'd watch the whales, all that good stuff. And then I would take advantage of that breakfast that is included in my package. And we're not talking a continental breakfast. These are pretty big buffet breakfasts. And I would go down, have the buffet breakfast. And again, that would hold me through lunch. And then I would have an early dinner. Now, I never get acclimated to the time there. So usually by 8 o'clock local time, I'm fighting the sleep, trying to stay awake. But the key to Hawaii, it's just like Europe. When you first get there, stay up as long as you possibly can. Try to acclimate yourself to it as much as you can. But as far as all-inclusive options for Hawaii, unfortunately, at this point in time, they do not exist.
All right. Well, great advice there, Shelley. Others are asking about maybe you can give us an update on the status of the island of Maui after the fires.
Yeah, actually, that's a great question. So we currently have a very, very large group of travel advisors that are in Maui right now, and they have been posting. Now, I have not been to Maui since the fires, but we do keep updated on the area. It's coming back. Hawaii, that was a big hit for Hawaii to have to take, and so we want to show them as much love as we can. But it's recovered that area. They've started to rebuild. There are shops that are open. There are areas that you can venture to, but it may be a little longer, before it's back to how it truly fully was prior to the fires. Let's see. Let's see. Lena, do you suggest taking two islands on the same trip, say within an 8 to 10 day window? Yes, definitely. Look, you're investing in that airfare, and those inter-island flights are not that expensive. The bulk of that cost is going to be that airline ticket over. So once you're there, take advantage of it. I'll be honest with you, I think a two island is probably perfect for an 8 to 10 day. I'm going to say if you add a third island in there, you may want to add a day or two. You definitely want to do at least 2 nights in Kauai. Maui, I would stick to 5 there minimum, and Oahu 2 to 3, depending on depending on your flight arrival into Oahu. Will they have tours early in the morning? Actually, they do. They are very keen on the fact that most of us come from the States and we are a little confused on time. So, when I was there in January 2 years ago, my flight got delayed and I actually ended up staying an additional day, kind of last minute. And I thought, okay, what am I going to do today? So I got up early. I got up before the sunrise as I normally did. And then I went down and did it. I went down to the lobby. I spoke to the rep in the lobby, and I ended up booking an excursion that morning where I went whale watching. And I would say that whale watching tour started probably about 9 local time. So that would be about right. What time do businesses open? Well, remember we're on island time. Okay. So if you're doing excursions, those tend to start a little earlier. They tend to get people around. And then if you're doing the morning excursions, normally there is an opportunity to shop or to pick up snacks, that type of thing. So normally it's going to be they're going to be open and prepared for that, the excursions. Now, if you're out and about in a car and you're renting a car and you're going, the hotel could help you determine, what activities you're going to do and what would be the more prime times to take advantage of those. What are the estimated cost of flights to each island? Cindy, that's a great question. It's a little bit of a loaded question. I'm not sure that I can really answer it 100% accurately because I mean, I'm gonna reference one of my favorite movies ever, which is Sleepless in Seattle. The little girl is talking about airfare, and she says, "Well, no one ever knows how much airfare is," and that's true. No, there's no set prices when it comes for airfare. So, this is really where your advisor is going to be able to help you because if you give them your dates and you say, look, here are the travel dates that we're looking at, they're going to be able to go in and look at the air schedules and maximize the benefit to you. And they'll be able to book that and they can look at, well, okay, this flight operates at 1 o'clock and it's $50 more than the flight that goes at 3 o'clock. So that's one of the things that your advisor would be able to assist you with. Any other questions? You guys are asking great questions. Okay. Can we get a copy of your slides, please? You certainly, I'll tell you what I'll do, Leslie. I will send those over to Lori and Nancy, and I'll let you connect with them. All right.
All right, I'm not seeing any new questions. Shelley, was there anything we might not have touched on that you want to speak to before we wrap up?
Let's see. Can you put the slides in the chat? I wouldn't be able to do that right now because we're in a live version, but I can certainly get those over to the ladies at Global Connections for you. We can definitely do that. Plan in advance, guys. That's one thing that I will say. Oh, Lena's asking best time to go there. Well, look, I'll be honest with you. There's never a bad time to go to Hawaii because it's 85 degrees year round. I like to go during whale season. To me, that would be the prime time that I would want to go. And ideally, that's when it's cold here. So that works great for me. But remember, if you are going at that time, you are going to pay a little more than that. I also enjoy being there at Christmas. I think it's a beautiful place to be during the holidays. You guys are asking questions. Oh, whoops. Are there any boat transportations to the other island? Not that I'm aware of. At one point in time, they were running a ferry between the islands, but when I was there a year and a half ago, they had suspended that, and I don't believe that is up and running. So, um, all right, Michael, I'll let you take it from there.
All right, Shelley. Well, I think we caught most of the questions here. Looks like Nancy is providing answers to some of the questions we couldn't answer. So thank you, Nancy.
Oh, thank you, Nancy. I can't see the questions, so thank you. I can only see a set of them. Mhm.
Yeah, we're just getting a few in the chat here in addition to the Q&A. But I think we captured all of them. A big thank you to all of you for joining us. And of course, reach out to your travel advisor with any questions. We provide a lot of product for them to, really add value to your vacation when it comes to booking vacations with a travel advisor. So I encourage you to reach out to them with more questions. And Shelley, a big thank you to you for sharing your expertise. It's great time to get to know about Hawaii. We're getting into the cold weather season up here in Wisconsin anyways, and time to escape to some warmer weather. So thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. Have a great rest of your day, and aloha, everyone.
Aloha. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.